Justice delivered finally in the Pollachi sexual assault case of 2019. A sessions court in Coimbatore handed multiple life sentences till death for 9 convicts. At least 8 women, including a college student, were sexually assaulted, gang raped, and then blackmailed for sexual favors and money by the convicts. And the case had hit the headlines in 2019 after the alleged involvement of an AIADMK functionary as well. The case had shocked the state, and the verdict is a huge success for the prosecution, which provided the court with extensive digital evidence and even convinced the women to depose before the court and protected their identities after the case was taken over by the CBI. While the involvement of the AIADMK functionary did lead to a political exchange, the case is being seen as a landmark case in the state in terms of addressing women's safety and also how to go about prosecution. Listen in to some of the reactions.
சிபிஐ விசாரணை வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் எந்த விதமான பெண்களோட பாதிக்கப்பட்ட பெண்களோட விவரங்கள் வெளியே வராம ரகசியமான முறையில் நடைபெற்று இந்த வழக்கு வந்து சாட்சி கொடுக்கிற வரைக்கும் அவங்க சுதந்திரமா வந்திருக்காங்கன்றது சிபிஐயோட இன்வெஸ்டிகேஷன் வந்து ஒரு ப்ளஸ் பாயிண்ட்.
எப்படி நடந்தது சார்? ஏன்னா இவ்வளவு அவங்க ஃபேமிலிக்கே தெரியாத அளவுக்கு நீங்க கொண்டு வந்து
அதுதான் வந்து சிபிஐ வந்து ரகசிய குழுக்கள் அமைத்து அவங்க குடும்ப நபருக்குள்ள தெரியாம ரகசியமா அவங்களை பர்சியூட் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு கவுன்சிலிங் கொடுக்குறவங்களுக்கு கவுன்சிலிங் கொடுத்து அவங்களை சமாதானப்படுத்தி அவங்க ரகசியங்கள் காக்கப்படும் என்ற உறுதிமொழியை கொடுத்து அவங்களுக்கு வந்து பலவிதமான ஒரு தைரியமும் கொடுத்து தான் இந்த வழக்குல வந்து நாங்க கொண்டு வந்திருக்க பாதுகாப்பு. இந்த வழக்கு வந்து எப்படின்னா ஒரு 8 வழக்க ஒன்னா விசாரிச்ச வழக்கு இது. ஏன்னா ஒவ்வொரு பெண்களும் ஒவ்வொரு பாதிக்கப்பட்ட பெண்களும் தனித்தனி இன்சிடென்ட் தனி இது வந்து உயர்நீதிமன்ற உத்தரவின்படி இது வந்து 8 வழக்குல ஒன்னாக ட்ரையல் ஒரு 8 கேஸ் ஒன்னா நடந்திருக்கு. ட்ரையல் வந்து 2.5 வருஷத்துல.
ADMK government today has been put to shame because they tried to protect these people who committed these crimes against women. They refused to, even accept a complaint against these people. Their intention was to protect. It was the DMK, it was the opposition parties and the press which fought for justice for these affected women, and today justice is prevailed.
சட்டத்தின் முன், அதாவது சட்டம் தன்னுடைய கடமையை செய்திருக்கிறது. உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், அந்த குற்றவாளிகள் யாராக இருந்தாலும் அவர்கள் மேலே கடுமையான நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கப்படும் என்பது இதை காட்டுகிறது. இந்த குறிப்பாக சகோதரிகளுக்கு எதிரான குற்றங்கள் அதை 0 டாலரன்ஸ் ஆக தான் நாம் பார்க்க முடியும். அந்த குற்றவாளிகளுக்கு தண்டனை கொடுப்பதை நான் வரவேற்கிறேன்.
An extremely important case there in Tamil Nadu. Now, to understand the importance of this verdict from several different aspects, joining me this evening my colleague Sam Daniels, noted actor Kutti Padmini, who has followed the case very, very closely, like advocate Swapna Sundar and activist Brinda Adige. Thanks to all 4 of you for joining me here this evening. Before I get to the guests on the panel, Sam, put this in perspective, because on the one hand is the gravity of the crime and the case which had really shaken up the state and perhaps the rest of the country as well. But in terms of the prosecution too, there are snippets and important aspects of information that needs to be shared in terms of how it was dealt with.
That's right, Virirago. Initially, no survivor was willing to report or come forward to put things on record. And only one college student had come forward. Only after the CBI took over, they had to persuade the survivors to come forward and give complaints. And totally 8 survivors, including a college student, had given their statement. But to get them to come to the court and depose was a challenge. And it was here the CBI ensured that the Witness Protection Act would be followed in letter and spirit. They formed secret groups, persuaded the survivors that their identity will not be revealed, their safety would be ensured, and then they gained confidence to come to the special court and depose. And that was a major challenge which the CBI ensured would happen smoothly. And more than 40 witnesses were examined, not one turned hostile. That was another major achievement by the CBI. And when it comes to the evidences, they had to rely on the video evidences, the video of the sexual assault the perpetrators had recorded. And that was a challenge to get them authenticated, to be validated forensically, and then 200 other digital documents. So this case strongly relied on digital evidence, and 8 cases were tried together, as the Madras High Court ordered that way, because there were 8 survivors and they were tried together. And this had paved way for all 9 accused to be granted life sentence, and A2, the second accused, got 5 life terms and A1 got 4 life terms. And in this case, with this judgment, in a sense, this gives a great confidence and hope for other survivors that the prosecution is quite serious in terms of protecting their identity, to take the job of prosecution seriously, to ensure that every piece of evidence would be presented in a watertight way so that the perpetrators could be brought to justice. And this could, in a sense, motivate other survivors in several other cases too to come forward to report boldly. Although in this case, the suspicion is that there could be more than 100 survivors. Although only 8 had come forward, they have made sure that the perpetrators will not go scot-free.
Right, important point that you're making there. Yes, in terms of protecting identity, getting survivors to come forward to be able to give statements is a very, very important process in the process of justice. Ms. Padmini, ma'am, you followed this case very closely. First of all, your initial reactions. Do you believe finally justice has been delivered in the case, and is there a sense of closure?
Yes, I'm very happy. A big salute to the CBI and a very big namaskar to the Judge Nandini Devi, because not only following it closely, I was praying also. Because only such things happen, the girls can be saved. Day by day, everywhere, these kind of things are occurring. And these guys not only stopped with Pollachi, it was happening, and they actually went up to Pondicherry, E Road, even other places. So there are more than 150 to 200 girls who have been, betrayed by these guys. But fortunately, at least these 8 girls came forward, thanks to CBI and thanks to the parents of the girls to give them the courage. So unless you come out and you give your verdict, how can they be punished? So I'm extremely happy about it. And I want more and more girls to come out when they get cheated. Okay, for some reason you get lured, you get cheated. But don't sit back. Please come forward. Punish them so that other girls can be saved. Otherwise, they are not going to stop. It's going to continue. So at least save the other girls. You have lost it, but save the other girls. This is what I wanted to always, tell the public. In my channel also, I keep motivating women. Don't sit back. Please come forward and go and, find a solution. So I'm extremely happy, sir.
Right. Important point that you're making there, a sort of a campaign to encourage victims to speak out, survivors to speak out, not just in the interest of justice, but also in terms of preventing it, ensuring that others don't fall prey to a similar kind of incident. Swapna Sundar, yes. When you see it from a lawyer's point of view, in terms of the key focus areas that you pick up in the case, both in terms of the arguments that were presented, but also more importantly in terms of evidence and the and bringing the ability to convince the girls, hide their identity, because we believe in some of their cases the families were not very keen on them going before the court, but to convince them to come before a court of law is a critical challenge. Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, it is indeed a critical challenge and an extremely important one. In fact, I'm dealing with a couple of cases, one dealing with POXO currently, and also other cases that I'm dealing with. One of the very crucial principles of sexual harassment and other kinds of violence against women and victims, I think confidentiality is very important. The second important aspect here that I see is that IT was extensively used, information technology, cybersecurity was extensively used in order to make sure that these videos did not find their way to the media. In some sense, I think the media has also been supportive of the case because not many things came out. It was done in a way that it was kept in the background until the final decision was made. I also have the way that the prosecutors have taken forward this case is to ensure that the justice was done from both sides. So I'm sure that there was a lot of evidence also presented on behalf of the on behalf of the victims, but also on behalf of the perpetrators. So there was justice and fairness that was done. I feel that that is equally important in ensuring that there is credibility created and that the prosecution and the government have received the accolades that they deserve. I've also seen how in the early part of this case there was a lot of support from IDWA that was provided to the families and the survivors, also from PUCL. I think women's organizations have stood up for them. 6 women actually in the early part of the case also approached the Madras High Court, which ensured confidentiality. So I think the way women's organizations have come together, empowered these women, and also, as Madam Kuti Padmini was earlier mentioning, is an empowering statement for all women who undergo this kind of pain at some point in their lives. It is important that women's organizations like IDWA and PUCL be highlighted, or their role in this case be highlighted, because we need organizations like these to support women when they are in trouble. I know that parents often find it very difficult to support their women, their daughters when they come forward. But I think education has helped. The policies which are there in Tamil Nadu has helped girls to come forward. And yes, while parents and family members might feel embarrassed or even humiliated, socially judged by these cases that they are getting involved in, I'm happy that they came forward. As I was saying, the other case that I am dealing with is deals with younger aged women, and I'm seeing how the parents are coming forward to support them in this matter. So I think it's a huge victory, and I do thank the government for their support.
Okay. Absolutely, absolutely. An important point that you're making there. In fact, multiple points that you've made there. I'm going to take one across to you, Brinda, which is, and I think Advocate Sundar was making a very, very important point. That is, in a case of this nature, ensuring that the videos never went out, ensuring that it did not get publicized and it was taken down right in time to ensure the identity of the victims, the survivors, was protected. That's a crucial aspect, apart from the other point that she was making about giving that emotional, psychological support to families and to survivors to be able to speak up when they are guaranteed that their identity will be protected.
Absolutely. The entire case almost hinged on that confidentiality. Because we know that in a country like ours, the woman is always blamed. We are a patriarchal society. And that being the case, parents as well as survivors always find it very difficult. But here, I think, like Madam pointed out, PUCL and IDA, as well as the support that they got from their own communities. I'm sure there was some support that was extended also from their families and extended families. That is just to show that if all of us come together, then we will be able to counter these kind of people. But that said, let us place on record that it is a long time. 2019 to 2025 is a very long time for individual survivors to actually be waiting for a verdict. Of course, they may not have gone many times to the court, but their lives also have come to a standstill. How many of them were able to go on, move on, go forward? Very many times there was also at one point there was a geo issued where one survivor's name as well as the college name was also put out. Now no action has been taken on those people. So that is a government order. So this is something that we want to ask, is saying what you are doing is as per law and policy, and no charity that is being done to survivors. And if any agency, the state agency, violates any of these clauses in the law, those state agency functionaries must be pulled up. So this case is a fantastic trailblazer. Right. It is an example Absolutely. To show that when the state agencies come together, they can deliver, bring these people to justice. But we also want to talk about fast-tracking these cases. It is not important that you have to prolong it and give date after date all the time. You are looking at victim survivors. We are looking at young girls, and they have lives to move on, to take it forward. And there is a lot of mental trauma that they are going through. So their mental health is also at stake. And I think it is time now, in this age and time when we have technology, circumstantial evidence, that fast track of such cases is very, very serious issue. That said, I do hope that
Absolutely.
these girls, the victims, will be able to move on strongly because of the strength they get from their families.
Right. Important points that all of you have made there. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. I wish we could have heard from you more in terms of what the survivors have had to share in terms of their reactions, but unfortunately we've run completely out of time. But thanks to all four of you for joining us here on the Southern View this evening on an extremely important judgment in an extremely important case from Tamil Nadu. That's all we have time for on the show this evening. News and updates continue right here on NDTV. Thanks for watching.